How y'all doing today? My name's Zain, and today's topic of discussion is going to be healthy confidants, healthy conversation. Healthy confidants, healthy conversation. This video has been a long time in the making because I've talked about things regarding this. Talked about, the type of people that you have in your life. You notice how you have some people where they're only privy to a certain part of your life, and the reason being is because when you open up to them about other things that's going on in your life, it's filled with a whole lot of foolishness, a whole lot of stuff that you didn't ask for. Now, don't get this misconstrued with constructive criticism. This is not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about to where basically it's like they lead to unhealthy interactions. It's just like, if I had to base our whole relationship on this other portion that I'm trying to give you to deal with, this is a relationship that, I wouldn't be seeking further interaction from. Because either I feel kind of beat up, I feel, like you're not only just judging me to the core on everything, you're just, in a way, you can really be toxic. Now, I've said this in some of my other videos, my older videos, when I talk about how there's some people that there's no winning with them. I know that I have, it's a few people that I'm thinking of in my life where you're using them as a confidant. Then they're friends, but I'm just saying you're confiding in them at the moment. And when you take in all the advice of things that maybe they've said or given to you, and you start acting accordingly, and you're like, okay, well, on this situation here, I might not have really known how to handle it. Maybe this is how that person would handle it in a healthy way. Let me try this. You got to try to venture out, especially when you're younger and you're trying to find yourself when you're doing things. And you do something, and the person still has something to say. Then it gets to a point where you're just like, you know what? I'm not sure any way that I would have handled that situation with the person, they would have had anything constructive to say, because they're determined to be on the opposite side of whatever I'm saying. Whether it's a thing to where they're trying to feel like they're providing some sort of insight maybe you missed. And with the people that I'm thinking about, I've thought about those situations because it was a long time coming. I'm just like, man, maybe they were trying to, but how could you even pull this away from it? Maybe they were trying to come with a point that I didn't see. But then I noticed this more and more and more to where it's like you're almost making a mockery out of the things that I'm bringing you. Is really not healthy. It's only serving the purpose that you're always right. And the reason why you're always right is because you're opinionated. You have to give some sort of, you have to top off the conversation with some sort of moment to where, it rests on what you say. It's filled with, and it doesn't have to necessarily be destructive conversation because you can kind of see that coming from a mile away. But it's just, in other words, and I said this in my other video, I go left, you say that I should have went right. I went right, you say I should have went left. I moved forward, you say I should have waited. I stepped back, you say I should have moved forward. And this is the reason why I talk to you and I state that you have to have your own head on your shoulders on some of the things that you're doing. And you don't want to be to where it's like, you don't have your mind made up, or you're incapable of making your mind up with decisions. Now, like I said, I know that this is something that we all do. We all confide in people. We get second opinions. We look for advice and things. But it does come a time, depending on how often you do this, what person that you're talking to, that this may not be of a benefit to you. I first started to notice this when I was talking to an individual, and not only did it seem that they weren't contributing anything healthy to what I was confiding in them about, but it almost, no, it's not that it almost, it did. It started to turn into I'm going to kick you while you're down. And the reason why I had a problem with this situation This situation is different from ones where I talked to you about, where you're talking to a person, they're doing the same thing. And it's just like, why even talk to me? Because you know that you're just wasting time and you're going to go and do your own thing anyways. And this is something that's been going on for years. This is something completely different from that. And like I've stated, when people have consulted and advice with me, it's not for you to consult or get advice from me and me get bit all out of whack because you didn't do what maybe I told you I would have, the way that I would have handled it. Because that's not the reason why I'm talking to you. I'm just, we're just trying to get you to think about it all the way around. You go make your own choice. Even if you go do something that was completely different from what you and I were talking about, if you come to this conclusion on your own, I'm happy. If this helped you to even, be solid in your thinking, that's fine. But you have people to where they start to, like I said, it's no better way of saying it. They make a mockery out of it, and it's almost like they're kicking you when you're down. And then after I started to kind of step back from this situation, or these situations with these individuals, I noticed, I'm just like, other things started to rear its head. And them giving me opinions on what they thought about, my overall situation in life. Some jealousy started to come out of there. Some envy started to come out of there. Then it made me reel back up and think about what was being said. And I'm like, wait a minute. If this is coming out and you're blatantly telling me these certain things to my face and you're getting bolder and bolder with some of the comments and things that you're making, how can your advice be good for me? Now I have to question this because it already sounded off when we were talking about it. Now I'm questioning, why are we here? Then not only do I have that floating around in my head, I'm thinking about, you know what? I really can only talk to this person or these people about one particular part of my life. Because anything else gets in there is full of judgmental statements. It's full of ridicule. It's full of basically almost like you're trying to belittle. And it's just like, I wouldn't deal with you on any other occasion with any of these other things. So it's just like, I have to base the relationship, the entirety of the relationship, on all of this. Not just this one slice of the pie. It's this whole pie. The whole pie is sour. A slice of it is sweet. What do you think the whole pie tastes like? We all have our quirks, our downsides, our strengths, our weaknesses. We all have all of these things. But I'm talking about the overall. I'm not talking about trying to use these things of reasons to write people off, because if you want to go through life doing that, there's a million reasons why to write people off. We're talking about a healthy way of you remaining in my circle, me remaining in yours, for us to have this interaction so it's upbuilding. And I'm not talking about telling me on what I want to hear. We have the right to reevaluate our relationships over time and what we mean to one another, and where a person deserves that or belongs in your life. What spot, what seat are they taking up in your life? If you're going to have confidants, you want to make sure that it's healthy. Not what you're wanting to hear, it's healthy. Healthy people that you're talking to so you can get healthy information up out of. Think about it. How healthy is your advice going to be when I know for a fact, not only have I addressed these issues up with you before, but our relationships have devolved into, toxic talks because of things that I've just discussed here in the video. Some jealousy, some envy. It's jaded. It's bad enough trying to weigh out the things, weigh out conversation with the people that's in your circle, because to a degree you feel that they're jaded anyway, because you would like to think with them being in your circle they have your best interest at heart. And maybe they're looking at you in a certain light that others wouldn't on the outside. They're cutting you some slack, so it's hard enough trying to see through to make sure, when you're trying to get healthy, sound advice that you're getting that, and they're not just telling you that because they're in your circle. So it's hard enough doing that, let alone somebody who is clearly being destructive in their talk. This comes in the form of some of my earlier videos that I talked about, throwing curveballs where it looks like it's coming at you straight. It looks like, man, this sounds like it's all right. Then it curves to the side and smacks me up across my head. And I'm like, whoa, where did that come from? I wasn't even expecting that. Healthy confidants, healthy conversation. If we're going to have a conversation, let's have a conversation about it. Let's have a conversation about these matters. I've talked with some people, especially like in my youth, where it comes a point where they're like dressing you down. Straight up dressing you down. I mean, talking to you almost like you're a parent. You're like, oh, whoa, hold up. Who are you? I didn't ask you for all that. And then, now here it is. Now we're having this type of interaction. Now I got to check you on your position that you are in my life. But I didn't ask you for that. And first of all, who are you talking to? Healthy confidants, healthy conversation. That's the topic of this video. Everything that I'm talking about, you want to keep it healthy. Healthy doesn't always mean in agreement with what you're saying. That's why I always have to take things back, saying you have to be open to constructive criticism. I'm quite sure, I would like to think that the people that are in your circle are not going to tell you what you want to hear all the time. If they're telling you what you want to hear all the time, why even talk to them? You can just keep on doing what you're doing. You got to be open to criticism. It's my 2 cents on it. If you hadn't already, hit that subscribe button. Follow me on other social media, Facebook, Tumblr, Twitter, Instagram. Obviously, I'm on YouTube. This is where I'm doing the video at. Check out the link in the description box. I Ain't Kilimanjaro's The Arithmetic to Family Communication. It's a book that I wrote about family communication. If you have questions that you want to ask me, and I'll hopefully try to answer them in a video. I'll leave your name and all that out of it so you can remain, anonymous. But just, keeping the general idea, whatever your question is, I'll try my best to answer it in the video. Send it to my email, ain.kilimanjaro@gmail.com. In the meantime, stay encouraged, avoid being discouraged. I'm Ain. You have a good one.